Okay. So, note card I'll be using. Audience, my mother. So we'll go get started. Toads. Not a common thought of animal when you want to go get a pet. They're usually found to be an annoyance or used in gardens to get rid of bugs, but I actually found them to be quite interesting after I owned a few. They're relatively cheap to take care of, great for beginners, and kids love them. And with proper care, can be a quite long lasting pet. After we found an injured toad and kept it, the kids wanted to kind of start a rescue and wanted a collection of them, so I did weeks and weeks of research to make sure what they needed and how to take care of them properly. So, several things to consider if you do get your own toads is tank you need, the items you need in the tank, and how to properly maintain it and take care of your pet toads. So the first thing will be all the essentials you need for your toads. So the tank, you first have to decide and figure out what size of a tank you need. The more toads, the bigger tank. You need to figure out what kind of substrate or dirt that you're going to use for them, a water source if you're going to use a more permanent one like I've used here, or a removable one like the water dish I have over there. Then you need to figure out your lighting. You need a heat lamp because they are cold-blooded, and like a UVB lamp, which is essential for them to be able to survive. The next thing is, once you figured out the items that you need, is setting up the tank. As you can see here, I made a permanent water source, so dirt on one side, water on the other with filters, and kind of made a pond area for them so they can go back and forth. And then I put the heat over here, made a hot side of the tank, so if they need to cool off, they can go to the other side by the water and cool back down. The substrate you need to make sure is big enough so that way they can burrow, because they love to burrow. Once you kind of get everything laid out, and then you need to put them into the tank and watch them to make sure everything is comfortable to them and there isn't anything that you need to make adjustments to or change around for them. Once they're comfortable where they're at, you need to make sure to maintain it. Substrate needs to be changed out on a regular basis. Same with the water needs to be changed out on a regular basis. And any waste products or byproducts needs to be removed from the tank on a daily basis for them. And then the last thing that's important is taking care of them. Once they're in there and they're settled, you need to feed them regularly. A variety of a diet, worms, crickets, anything like that. The adults you would feed a couple times a week, 2 to 3 times a week. The younger ones or smaller ones you would feed on a daily basis. They are cold-blooded, so you do need to make sure that you have that UVB, the heat lamp in there, and the UVB lamp helps for them to process food, along with calcium supplements that you put in there. Helps them to process and not get blockages. And one of the most important things, especially with kids, is you have to be very careful how you handle them. Too much handling can actually be damaging to them, and they absorb through their skin, so wear gloves. Otherwise, if they absorb toxins that are on your hands and skin, they can actually die from it. So that gives you the basics of how to set up a tank, how to care for them, maintain your tank, and keep them alive for a while for you to enjoy and for the kids to enjoy. I would not have seen myself as somebody to own toads, but after the kids started and we started getting collections of toads, I actually found them to be quite interesting and comical. One of the funniest things is when you have multiple toads and you feed them, it can be quite funny. So I'd recommend, if you're looking at getting another pet that's not very expensive and can actually be quite interesting, then I would recommend going and getting some toads and looking into going that route.